the end, but the moment has been prepared for.
Yes, it is indeed. We have reached the final day. We've reached the edge, as it were,
Mm.
before we pass over this series and say, we're done. We're regenerating ourselves. Today, we're taking a look at Power of the Doctor, the most recent episode to air. Once again, I'm joined with Luke.
Yes, hello everyone. It is Christmas Eve by the time this comes out. So everyone is settling down, getting ready for the bigger day. It's the end of the series, but we've got a little bonus afterwards following it. No. But, I mean, it's been a fun ride, hasn't it, really?
It has. There's been some nice revelations, some nice reappraisals, some not so nice things to go back and watch. Twin Dilemma. But we've made it. We're here. We've just got 90 minutes of television to cover, and then we can say...
You almost said sit through there, didn't you?
Yeah.
You can tell how this review's going to go.
Yeah. It's fine. Ooh. It's all good.
Will it be more positive than Woman Who Fell to Earth Day?
Yeah.
I'd
say
that's
so.
one thing. Yeah. We may not quite be ending on a high note, but at least we're coming up a bit, so it seems more of a high note.
Yeah, I think it's a decent send-off for our Jode.
And yeah, now we've got David Tennant back in the driver's seat for a little bit, haven't we?
For 3 weeks, I guess, on telly.
Yeah, it seems like. Or could even be 3 days. I mean, I hope 3 weeks. I think it would be better to space it out just a little bit.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, we've got Liberation of the Daleks, which... decent little comic so far.
Yeah, I think that's going all the way up until November, isn't it? So I mean, it'll be like a 12-part.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I guess I've not really looked into it, but it's unprecedented, isn't it, to have a Doctor's first story in a comic or expanded media in general, really.
Yeah, and not only that, but to have Daleks in the DWM comic strip again after quite a long time, isn't it?
I think it must be Children of the Revolution. So McGann, really.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose we sort of jumped ahead a bit, but should we cover this now since it is more of a bonus rather than...
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you've read the first 2 issues, haven't you?
I have indeed.
Yeah, so you have got more 14th Doctor content than me, because I haven't really picked up DWM in quite a long time, to be honest.
I mean, you could go to the shop, read it, and then wait for the next issue, read it, and then...
Yeah, that's true.
You know, not advising that. Support Doctor Who magazine.
I mean, I imagine this one will definitely come out as its own little trade paperback afterwards, won't it?
Oh, better do a graphic novel collection for sure.
Yeah.
Whether it'll be in like a Dalek collection or the 14th Doctor one, because they do like to do Doctor ones.
But if this is the only 14th Doctor one, it could be the whole collection is just Liberation of the Daleks.
Well, Eccleston's just got 1, so yeah, I guess so.
Wow. I mean, it's quite exciting seeing that cover, though, of the second issue. Well, not the second issue, but you know what I mean, the latest issue. With the Daleks on the front in their realistic splendour, as opposed to hand-drawn. I think Anthony Lamb done that, didn't he?
Yeah, probably the last time we see the gold Daleks.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully. I mean, again, we've had them in this episode, Power of the Doctor, haven't we?
Yeah, we said goodbye in Eve, going, right, that's the last time we'll see the gold boys.
Yeah. And then there they were in the trailer for Power of the Doctor. Yeah, I mean, I think we've had it mentioned in DWM that, you know, the design is excited to design the new Daleks, isn't it? So it's looking promising that we are seeing the end of the Bronze Boys.
Yeah, it took RTD to come back to destroy his own creation.
Yeah. And I think they've earned a rest at this point.
Are they the longest serving Daleks? I think they are.
Oh, they must be, easily. I suppose it depends how you count it, but even like Victory and then Asylum, they're still there in the stories. So it's not like they ever went away. Like the Paradigm just sort of happened at the same time, didn't they, really?
Yeah, which is a shame.
Yeah. But anyway, Jodie's era now, the 13th Doctor's finale. Shall we talk some trivia on this one because,
Yeah.
well, sort of, we've been told that it was like a pact between Chris Chibnall and Jodie Whittaker, wasn't it? That they would do 5 years, 3 series or so, and then that was it. They're done. They would do their little run, their own little take on Doctor Who, and then they'd leave it behind and let someone else come along.
Not a Patrick Troughton listening to do 3 years and go.
Yeah. I mean, it's become the tradition now of the new series Doctors, isn't it? Alan Eccleston, they've all done 3 series.
And a couple
Usually
of
over
specials.
4 years. Yeah. I mean, so like the way it's turned out, we usually get like a year off at some point, or a year with only half a series and the other series and the half the series next year. But yeah, with this, part of the plan he could not foresee was a little thing called COVID, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Which-
that global pandemic.
Yeah,
Definitely
that
little.
old chestnut.
Yeah, that old big thing.
I mean, that derailed some Series 13 plans there. And so what would have been another, presumably 11 episodes to round them off, you'd have a 10-episode series, and then Power of the Doctor as, I guess, a special on its own. Or maybe they'd have just done the 10 episodes and then had Jodie regenerate as a series finale. But Power of the Doctor as a 2-parter at the end instead of one long special.
I'm looking forward to in a couple of years' time when we actually get to the meat of what this mysterious Series 13 would have been. You know, maybe Big Finish can pick up on it and we can get like an alternative version like they've done with the Collins stuff. That'd be great.
Yeah. Because, I mean, certainly we heard that writers were preparing stuff, haven't we?
Yeah, like
I think
Ed-
Pete McTeague.
Ed Heim, I think, the person who did It Takes You Away, and what other ones did he do? I'm trying to think now.
He did, what was...
He did one in Series 12.
Oh, Orphan 55, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, there's a reason I forgot that.
Yeah, I'm sorry to remind you.
Damn.
But yeah, so instead, it was announced we were getting 8 episodes because of COVID and such, weren't we? At first. We didn't quite know how these 8 episodes were going to be stretched. I think we all just assumed it was an 8-episode series, really.
Yes.
But then, as it turned out, when they announced that Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall were leaving the show, I think they were both announced alongside each other, weren't they?
There was rumours in January, but it took them an awful long time to go, yeah, it's happening. I think it was like July, June time, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe so. And then, of course, September time, we got the announcement of Russell returning. But yeah, with this... Sorry, I've cut this bit.
Oh, that's all right.
I'm just leaving a gap for it to show up on the timeline. And I've completely forgot what I was going to say anyway. But yeah, with this announcement, I think it's the first time that it's showrunner and Doctor departing both announced together, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because Russell and Stephen Moffat both announced their departure first, and then David and Capaldi followed suit a little bit afterwards. So yeah, alongside this announcement as well, we also got the news that we were getting a bonus special, wasn't it? They'd ordered one extra episode to coincide with the shows, or not the shows, sorry, the BBC's
BBC, yeah.
100, it's centenary, 100 years of the BBC, to sort of coincide with those celebrations they had going on in October of that year, or this year even. We're still in 2022.
Yeah, get jumping the gun there.
Yeah, I'm so used to, with this series, talk about the past, whereas here we are more or less talk about the present, really.
Yeah, we are.
Yes, yeah, the very recent past. But yeah, and so that was also when it was confirmed that we were getting a 6-episode series for Series 13, and then 3 specials throughout the year, wasn't it?
Yeah, Flux, which very good. I enjoyed Flux as a whole.
I think it had its moment. It was fun to watch along, and I think us getting to do our What the Flux series helped it a bit for me. I think it was nice just us getting to sit down, have a chat after the episodes, and get other people's opinions in on that as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the bonus one more ended up being Legend of the Sea Devils, didn't it?
Yeah,
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 just the way it worked out, and so they pushed what presumably Power of the Doctor would have been an Easter special or something. Instead, got pushed back to October, and then we got Legend of the Sea Devils to sort of fill that gap. Also, like for Series 13, back in Series 12, we had Ryan and Graham depart, didn't we? Bradley Walsh and Tosin
yes,
Cole.
yes.
And so they were looking for a new actor to play the companion. Chris Chibnall very much wanted John Bishop for the role. He wrote down specifically for him, didn't he, actually?
You can see it. You can see it.
Hmm. But John Bishop wasn't available for it. He had a tour to go on. However, COVID struck, so it sort of swings and roundabouts, isn't it? Certainly we lost a couple of episodes to COVID, but we gained John Bishop as Dan instead because tour was cancelled. He had some spare time to go shoot some Doctor Who episodes. However, because of the additional episode ordering, he wasn't quite available to do the whole of Power of the Doctor, so that's why he's hardly in this one, really.
I'm going back to my home planet now. Bye.
Yeah, my people need me.
Yeah, literally, it is that.
And so he got written out quite early on, didn't he? Like
Mm.
just after the opening titles, comes back a little bit for the end, and yeah, it's more so focused on the Doctor and Yaz, as Jodie Whittaker and Mandip Gill are also taking their last bows. I mean, Jodie Whittaker, of course, this is the Regeneration Advent Calendar.
Mm.
It wouldn't be either a hello or a goodbye on this series otherwise. So, any other little bits of trivia for us? Let's dive deep.
William Russell got a Guinness World Record. I think that's probably the biggest achievement of that. A character to return to a role.
Yeah.
98 William
mean-
Russell.
Yeah, I mean, he blew the record by quite some proportions, didn't he?
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to be taking that record off him anytime soon. Another bit of trivia: our famous meme moment of the story, the Rasputin dance. Sacha Dhawan improvised all that, and they only had 10 minutes to shoot it. So, fair play to Sacha Dhawan because he definitely gives it his all, doesn't he? Dressed as Rasputin.
Yeah, he's doing a good little dance there. I think as well, it doesn't really need to be that overly choreographed or anything.
No,
does
no,
it?
no.
It is just the master having a bit of fun, really.
With his fan.
You also get that improvised moment of the Dalek and Cybermaster doing the little turn towards each other as well.
Yeah,
which
it's
is
a lovely thing.
Fun little moment there. Durdle Door, the Lulworth estate, were a little bit unhappy about the ending there because they did not grant permission. Not that the BBC actually went and filmed it there.
It's a very Web of Fear, isn't it?
Yeah. Although in this case, I think it was more the worry that people would try and go up there to recreate it.
Of course.
Yeah. Which I think they might be overestimating Doctor Who's reach in pop culture there, I think. At least it's reach at this point in time.
Give it time.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll have moments like that coming up with Russell as it returns to presumably the top spot once again, won't it?
Yes.
We'll see how it goes. Hopefully we're not jinxed anything there. But yeah, this is the episode with the most like doctors in like original actors playing the Doctor in new footage, isn't it?
And most companions as well, I guess.
Yeah, very probably. It's certainly close to the 5 Doctors at the very least. But yeah, because you got Peter Davison, Colin Baker, Sylvester McCoy, Paul McGann, Joe Martin, and David Bradley here.
And do you count David Tennant as well?
Oh yeah, David Tennant too. Of course. Yeah. He actually suggested his first line as well. The I recognise these teeth.
That's a man who loves the character and is glad to be back.
Yeah. I mean, that was also shot by Rachel Talalay in sort of like the filming block for the upcoming specials for the 60th. That little scene. And also featured the Doctor regenerating alongside his clothes for the first time since William Hartnell's Patrick Troughton.
Which I guess is a nice little... I mean, I know there's a whole debate around why... There's a reason why Russell didn't do it. But I guess you could just add it to the reason of it's another way of celebrating Doctor Who's history at the BBC, linking back to the first regeneration. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I think it's more so down to Russell's own reasons, isn't it?
Mm.
Like he didn't want that first image of David Tennant being back in a role with the spotlight very much on it to be what would be perceived as a man in woman's clothes. Well, see, the 13th Doctor's clothes are more gender neutral,
Yeah,
but
because you get it with Sacha Dhawan in it.
yeah, but the British press being
Oh,
what it
tabloids
is,
would
yeah,
rinse it for all it's worth.
yeah, and I think certainly the show would be able to weather that storm quite well, but Russell, quite understandably, didn't want to put trans people and drag queens in like that, in the firing line of that, really, didn't he? He didn't want to risk ridiculing that, which I think is an understandable reason to have the Doctor's clothes generate along with him. And I think in the end, it just adds to the mystery of what's going on here. Why is this
Is it
Doctor back
Toymaker
again?
or yeah.
I mean, less than a year until we find out now.
Mm.
It's funny to think this has been 2 months since, or nearly 2 months for us as we're recording this. We're doing this on the 19th of December.
Yeah.
And so, by the time this goes out, 24th, it'll have been 2 months and a day, won't it?
Yeah. Second time watching it this time.
Yeah. I mean, does it feel like it's been 2 months, or does it feel shorter, longer?
It's so bizarre because it doesn't feel that long, but it does.
I think it's just because of the onslaught of news we've had since then.
Oh yeah, it's been like an avalanche of just announcement news.
I mean, Russell did say come 2023, we'll be sick of him, so...
I mean, keep it coming, Russell. I'm enjoying we're doing good at the minute.
Yeah, we've been loving it. I mean, I wonder if by the time this goes out, we might even have some more news. Most recently, we had the outfit reveal, of course, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll have to see what other little fun bits could come along in the meantime. But yeah, they're filming it now. It's very exciting. Yeah, for this episode, the title was revealed very late in the day, wasn't it?
Yes.
And as it turns out, Chris Chibnall didn't even know the title for a long while. He was sort of like, a lot of the time he was busy thinking of it, and he had the marketing team coming at him saying, "What's the title? We need it to put on the poster and such." And he was like, "Oh, I don't know yet."
Come on, Chris. I think it's a decent title.
Yeah, I think it's good enough. I think it's one of those ones where it's like not necessarily worth waiting for.
No.
Like, it doesn't hide any big surprise or anything like that, but it's a good enough title for the
the minds of the story, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a suitable one for a celebration as well, and also similar to Day of the Doctor. It seems these big celebrations like to copy classic Who Dalek stories titles and just swap Daleks for Doctor.
That's true. Yeah. That's true.
I mean, it's our second power of this series, isn't it?
It is.
Power of the Daleks way back on the second day, which is so long ago for us now. We filmed that back in the summer.
Yeah. Now in the deepest, darkest winter.
Yeah, we've got our Christmas trees up now. We're all cozy.
Oh, yeah. Hot chocolate at the ready.
It's been a wonderful journey, this series. And so, shall I begin wrapping it up now with the final synopsis?
Take it away. Good luck.
I'll try to be a bit more enthusiastic than yesterday's.
Mine was straight to the point.
Yeah, true.
You know what the story was about.
You didn't waste any time.
The story did.
Oh,
there we go.
What about this one? Well, we open up with an attack on a train by the Cybermasters. They are there looking for a bit of cargo, aren't they? The Doctor, Yaz, and Dan turn up to the rescue, climb a ladder down onto the train, slow it down. In the process, Dan gets shot in the visor, not quite in the face. I don't know quite how the bolt didn't go all the way through, but
Special glass, plot armor, guys.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so he's given a bit of a scare there. It's good stuff from John Bishop where he's like staring at the helmet.
Hmm.
Meanwhile, the Doctor and Yaz just aren't really taking notice of that. Uh, but yeah, the Cybermasters get away with what they came for, a little girl, or is it? I mean, I think we were both thinking the same thing when we saw the little
Timeless
girl, weren't
child.
we?
Yeah, Timeless
Yeah,
child.
it seemed like we were going back down that route, although yeah, that turns out to be something quite different, and we don't really get anything conclusive on the Timeless Child arc that has been the main
Yeah.
backbone of this run, really.
Like I expected the fob watch to come back into play, you know, but no, nothing really.
No, but yes. Anyway, they return to Earth. They're tracking the girl, trying to work out where the Cybermasters have taken her. Dan's got a date to get to, but he says, I've had fun, but I'm off. I've got to get back to my life now. Because, it's one near-death experience too many for him, isn't it? He doesn't want to push his luck any further, which I think is a perfectly reasonable reason for a companion to depart, isn't it?
I think that it's a nice balance between the difference between Dan and Yaz. It's almost like the long game that some people are just made for the life in the TARDIS and others just aren't cut out for it, if you know what I mean.
I mean, I think he was cut out for it in that sense, but it wasn't. It was just a holiday for him. It
Yeah.
wasn't his whole life.
It
It's
gives
like
him a
a different.
purpose again.
Yeah. It's like a little break for him to clear his head, whereas for Yaz, this is her life now.
Hmm.
Yeah. And I suppose it's similar to companions like Martha as well.
Yeah, it's very Martha Ender, isn't it? Where she's like, yeah, I've had enough now.
Yeah, like traveling in the TARDIS wasn't necessarily her life. Yeah, and I think it's a nice way of going about it for Dan. I think it's a suitable exit for him. Obviously forced by John Bishop having to leave, not having time to really film much more for this story. But yeah, I feel like it's probably a better exit than Yaz ends up getting, really.
Hmm.
Certainly at least more conclusive and clear where his head's at with it. But yeah, we will get to that very soon. Meanwhile, though, there lived a certain man in Russia long ago. He was big and strong, in his eyes a flaming glow. Yes, but is it actually that certain man? Is it Rasputin, or is it the Master in disguise? Because, he's back in the Winter Palace and he sends the Tsar of Russia and his wife away so that he can have the place to himself for who knows what nefarious reasons. Back in the present day, Ace and Tegan are doing some investigating, aren't they?
Yes,
Ace
they are.
is looking into missing paintings while Tegan is off searching for some seismologists. And they decide it's time to head in because they are sort of freelance for UNIT at the moment. And so they go to tell Kate Stewart what they have learned. Also, Tegan has got a present from the Doctor. Or is it? Because she's got a little Russian doll, and in that is a Cyberman. Which, not very fond memories for Tegan,
Oh, no.
unsurprisingly. Yeah. So, the Doctor and Yaz go off to find the missing child and end up in 1916 on a planet near Earth that really shouldn't be there, a cyber converted planet. They find the girl, but it is actually a perception filter for is it Quarynx?
Yeah, something like that. I thought it was like concurrix or something like that. Yeah, but I think you're right.
It's like this being of pure energy, isn't it, that is being harnessed to power this cyber planet. And I feel like that's one of Chibnall's go-tos, isn't it? Like these weird creatures. Like he had that same thing in the series 11 finale. The Ux, isn't it?
Yes, I like the Oaks. Nice idea.
Yeah. It's a similar concept to that, really. Cybermen arrive, or Cybermasters, sorry, start shooting at the Doctor. She and Yazdo are runner. Oh, they also find the
TARDIS.
Master's TARDIS there as well, which is identical to the Doctor's, only it's got ha 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 written on it instead of pull to open, etc., etc.
But it's being used as like the core of the planet, isn't it?
yeah, he sort of harnessed it into the planet itself, hasn't he, to control it. But yeah, that'll come back later as his plans unfold. Kate Stewart then gets in contact call the Doctor into a unit because she's got some concerns of her own. I did forget to mention though, we have a Dalek contacting the Doctor in the TARDIS. This is while she had a goodbye with Dan. Yaz stayed outside to give Dan a proper goodbye because the Doctor's not very good at that.
Socially awkward, you see.
Yeah, but she has to get back into the TARDIS because a Dalek's going to contact her, and then she's going to keep that from Yaz because that's just what this Doctor seems to do. But yeah, the Dalek wants to stop a Dalek incursion on Earth and help the Doctor to destroy the Dalek race because he no longer believes in their cause. There's like a nice little Genesis reference there, isn't there? And the fact that they have deviated from their purpose so far.
Yeah, the purity and all that sort of stuff, isn't it? Yeah.
I mean, I think there's a line that's directly ripped from Genesis there as well. About preserving the Khalid race. And then the Doctor even says your master would be, or your creator would be pleased or something like that, doesn't she?
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, we return to the Dalek subplot sooner or later. But for the meanwhile, the Doctor has an awkward reunion with Tegan and Ace. Ace is a bit more excited to see the Doctor. Tegan less so. And I think it's perfectly in character for Tegan at the very least, isn't it?
Yes, it really is. Yeah. It's a nice contrast between the two, really.
But yes, paintings have been taken out of view because they have been vandalized by the Master. He has drawn himself as Rasputin all over many famous paintings. And, Kate's like, that's Rasputin. And then the Doctor, of course, realizes, no, it's the Master. And then he randomly cuts in, the Master that is, with an announcement of a seismology conference, doesn't he? That's sort of one of the weird. I'm not even sure if it's a coincidence for the Shipman era. I'm not sure what to call it because suddenly it just appears on the screen. But like, there's no reference.
The messy thing in Magician's Apprentice where it's just there it is.
Yeah, it's a bit odd. Do you think like maybe they could have hidden a code or something in the paintings he's done, and then from there they work out the link to this video or something?
Just that would be nice. Because you've got Yaz just going, it's in this place. Like, you don't see Yaz do it on screen.
Well, I mean, to be fair, they do give you, the Master does give them the location in the video.
Yeah, but it's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Yaz just looks it up and goes, oh, it's a hotel.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. And there's a unit base near there in Naples. So the Doctor and Yaz go on ahead in the TARDIS. Tegan's a bit miffed because the Doctor seemingly doesn't want her and Yaz in there. So they go and collect the Master, who has all of the seismologists, leading seismologists in the world, shrunk down, watching him do his usual spiel, really. He tells the Doctor that this is the day she is erased from existence, has a bit of a flirt with Yaz, and then unit troops come in, and the Doctor tells them to give Yaz a gun because they're going to transport him in the TARDIS. Yeah, this is also when the Master picks up on the fact that the Doctor's getting signals from the Daleks. And Yaz, again, isn't very happy that the Doctor's leaving her in the dark there. I think that's a nice way of the Master trying to drive a wedge between them, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I sort of hope there'd be some more from like Spyfall, like Yaz was hypnotized. Like, I loved all the theories about Power of the Doctor, and I was kind of hoping that the story reflected some of those theories in a way.
I mean, you had a theory that Yaz was going to be killed with the tissue compression eliminator.
Yeah, because you can see, like, I think that was like a bit of trailer bait, but an image bait. I don't know what you'd call it. Yeah,
because he does look like he was holding an image of the of Yaz there, wasn't it?
A little Yaz.
Shrunk form. But I mean, I imagine that's probably a prop that they used anyway. It's probably one of the seismologists hidden very far in the background. Sort of similar to how Matt Smith's mask was in Deep Breath. It's just like a little Easter egg prop, really, that doesn't quite have any relation to what was going on there. I mean, I wonder if maybe some of those little dolls are members of the production team shrunk down or
Probably
something.
are. Probably are.
Yeah, there might be a Jodie one hidden somewhere. Who knows? Maybe that's where Ryan is.
I mean, okay.
There we go. But yes, so back to unit headquarters now. Your dad was an idiot, the master tells Kate, which it's just such a funny line.
Don't disrespect our boy Brig like that.
I don't know why it's so amusing. It's just so uncalled for. It's not like Moffat would give something very witty there, wouldn't he? Like to Missy or someone, it would be this very sparky dialogue, whereas this is just literally your dad was an idiot, just so uncalled for, so out of nowhere. And then it gets a bit better when he meets up with Ace and Tegan. There's that wonderfully macabre line about Tegan keeping his Aunt Vanessa in a little doll's house. I mean, it's more reference to Aunt Vanessa than the classic series ever really gave after she got killed off in Legopolis, I think.
Yeah.
So, with that, the Master is then taken down to bunk down in the bunker as the Doctor goes off to investigate what the Daleks are up to. She's got to meet her source within the Daleks, hasn't she? The traitor Dalek. So, we're now in a volcano, an active volcano even, as the Doctor meets said Dalek and gets some intel from it, or tries to, but some other Daleks catch them, exterminate the traitor Dalek, and then force the Doctor into its casing so that she can be transported to location currently unknown. Yaz, who sort of went off on her own for a little bit, sees this happen and rushes back to the TARDIS. Meanwhile, back at Unit HQ, the Russian doll Cyberman has a little secret hidden inside, doesn't it? Because as Ace and Tegan watch the Master on the CCTV, it starts to expand because apparently tissue compression is reversible. And then it opens up and reveals a cyber army inside. Now it's the
arc, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it does have that feel to it. But these are the actual Cybermen rather than the Cyber Masters. And
Cyber Warriors, isn't it, really?
Oh, yeah, Cyber Warriors. Yeah, that's fair. Alongside them, or leading them even, is a Shad, who has been cloned, it seems. Not quite sure how that works.
All is forgiven.
Part machine. Yeah, he's forgiven me now. I killed him once. But yeah, it leads to quite a cool scene as they're taking over. And you get this sequence, which I don't think Doctor Who's ever really done anything like it before, like this action scene.
It was very Star Warsy. Like you can imagine, like Darth Vader doing that.
Yeah, something along those lines. Yeah, he comes along and shoots some unit soldiers, gets the Master out of his cell, and then the Master teleports away to the Winter Palace alongside the Doctor now. Or presumably he teleports away and then gets in makeup as Rasputin, does all the stuff we saw earlier in the story, and then that leads up to where we are in the Winter Palace, I imagine.
I guess so.
So yeah, the Doctor is now his captive. He explains that he has united Daleks and Cybermen together in their common hatred of the Doctor. And so this is when we get the famous Rah Rah Rasputin scene. Also, up on the cyber planet in this time period is Vinder.
Instantly Vinder.
Yeah, he's back from Flux. He's looking for the missing Quarinx or whatever that creature of great power is. And so he went through a wormhole and crashed onto the planet. While Rasputin is playing in the background, he's sending a message to the Doctor, isn't he?
By the phone,
Yeah, it's very awkward expository dialogue there, isn't it? It's just like,
yeah,
I've been holding on to this since you gave it to me back in the series finale, and I'm going to use it now.
Because I'm in this story,
like,
so
yeah. So that the plot of this one can progress a little bit.
That's Chibnall's era right there.
It is. Well, I mean, you get a similar scene like back when the Doctor and Yaz first arrive on the cyber planet, where it feels like the Doctor's reading a TARDIS wiki article about the Cybermasters, isn't it? It's like, Yaz was there. You don't need to give the expository dialogue of who the Cybermasters are. It's very bizarre. I swear it's gotten worse. Like, having watched Woman Who Fell to Earth and then having watched this, I feel like the expository dialogue has only gotten worse as the year has gone on. It's like even more parodied.
Yeah, you get it with like the Master going, that's a Dalek signal. Why? Like you can tell, like, it's just a bit annoyed, really.
I feel like that's at least not too bad because he's saying it to Yaz, isn't he?
Yeah, but you recognise it.
Yeah. There's a lot of other moments though where it's just rather painful. I mean, the whole opening sequence has a lot of it. Like they're regenerating, stuff like that. Just you could easily cut and be fine. We're not listening to an audio drama here.
It's no big finish.
No. But anyway, it's now time for a forced regeneration. Apparently the ultimate punishment for Time Lords who broke the rules back in the days of old. I thought that was like more vaporization and such, but anyway, vaporization without representation is against the Constitution. So instead, the Doctor is forced to regenerate into the Master using the power of that whole cyber planet, converting the Quorynx's energy, isn't it? And it like fires a beam down, and Yaz watching through the TARDIS because the Master's like sending her a little live feed so she can witness the regeneration from Doctor to Master. And the TARDIS then arrives in the Winter Palace, and the Master, or the Doctor now technically, takes Yaz aboard and says they're going to go off on some adventures together.
Which Yaz is not a fan of.
No, she's very much forced into it, isn't she?
Even the TARDIS is resisting.
Oh, that was a nice scene, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And it's nice that Sasha finally got to say the line, well, not quite. He instead had to say, "I'm the Doctor and you will obey me." But it was a very nice scene.
Yeah, because Sasha put his name in the ring when Matt was leaving, and he was like, "I want to be the next Doctor." So it's good that he kind of could tick that off his list that he did it.
Yeah, he technically did it. I mean, to be honest, before he was cast as the Master, he was very much my choice for 14th Doctor.
Okay.
Like I was, or at least a future Doctor. I very much wanted him to play the role, and can't really have that now because Master, but he does have a little bit of Doctor in there as well through this forced regeneration. So is he 13.5 technically? Is that how he counts?
Oh, don't start.
Let's not go into that. I mean, he's even got his own costume, or bits of other Doctors cannibalized. I mean, it's throw as many references in as possible, isn't it, for a little while there. Meanwhile, Unit HQ is still very much under attack. Ace and Tegan go to leave the building through the top while Kate Stewart has a contingency plan of her own. But Tegan is feeling a little bit bad that she let the Cybermen in and so decides to stick around while Ace dives off the rooftop with a parachute, which feels very Ace. I'm glad that she got to have that sequence. So I feel
it's in character for her more than Tegan.
Yeah. I mean, we'll talk about the returning companions, Ace and Tegan, when we get to the end of the synopsis, but I think they're treated very well in this story. Certainly better than I was expecting them to be. I think they got a lot more to do. We also had a little scene before this where they got a bit staticky, didn't they, between Lemon and Doctor as they said their goodbyes, because that will come into play a little bit later. Same with Yaz, she got a little bit staticky as well. So the Master is off, settling a war between two planets by blowing both of them up, which is
he's got a point. He's got a point.
It's effective, you can't deny. Improvise, adapt, and overcome. Yaz gets a bit upset, screams no, pushes him out the TARDIS. and then goes off, gets a little notebook out, doesn't she? Because she's been learning how to fly the TARDIS, and goes to collect some allies so that she can beat the Master. The Master isn't too upset though. He knows that Yaz will be back because she's not gonna. He is technically the Doctor at this point. She's not just gonna leave him/her there. So he gets his recorder out and starts playing a familiar tune. But yeah, going on inside his head or her head, the Doctor's heads, the Doctor is meeting manifestations of her former consciousness in the forms of the first, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th Doctors, all in robes except for number 8 because Paul McGann doesn't do robes.
Don't do robes.
And yeah, we'll come back to these boys returning, won't we?
Oh yes. Yes.
I mean, one of the highlights, really. But yes. So then, Yaz goes to get some allies. She knows about Vinder on the cyber planet, and so eventually goes to pick him up. And then they also go along to rescue Ace because Ashad saw her flying or parachuting out of the building, shot through the parachute, and so TARDIS arrives in the nick of time to catch her as she falls, which is very good piloting from Yaz, surprisingly.
It feels very sort of Day of the Moon with like river leaking off. Feels very like that.
I mean, it's quite well shot as well, the way it goes from, falling down to the gravity switching to the floor and Ace falling there. And yeah, Yaz having to deal with multiple somethings at once, as the Doctor puts it, says, Ace, how do you fancy being dropped off in a volcano to fight some Daleks? She says, wicked. And so off she goes. Vinder then goes to hide somewhere in the TARDIS while Yaz picks up the Doctor/Master. He knew she'd come back. And then they return to the Winter Palace, don't they, to undo the forced regeneration because Vinder's now got him at gunpoint. And they also use the holographic implant that the Doctor put in both Yaz, Tegan, and Ace. It's like a little interface thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
In case, in the gravest of circumstances, when she's no longer around. I mean, it leads to some nice scenes for the Tegan and Ace as they meet the 5th and 7th Doctors, their own Doctors again. And yeah, I mean, we'll talk about those later as well. But yeah, they both get a little bit of help from their Doctors in their respective positions. Yaz gets a little bit of help from the 13th Doctor and the Fugitive Doctor as well, because she changes the interface to trick the Master, doesn't she?
Yes, Fugitive, yeah. It's good to see.
Yeah. So the Cyber Masters surround the Fugitive and shoot through the hologram. They're all dead, and then Vinder shoves the Master back into the forced regeneration cabinet. They use the energy from the regenerating Cyber Masters to instead help the Doctor to forced degenerate back into herself again. Meanwhile, the Master is now back in his original body and quite weakened by the experience. His body's dying because of what he put it through. Meanwhile, Shad has taken Kate Stewart to be cyber converted. Tegan is making her way down to the bottom of the building to blow it up. Ends up like inverting the energy of the, I think, conversion chambers to zap the Cybermen instead.
Yeah.
And then Tegan and Kate escape the exploding building. Meanwhile, in the volcano, Ace has made a new friend, Graham. Bradley Walsh has returned for the 13th Doctor's final story. Nice little scene between those two. They blow up some Daleks. They blow up the whole Dalek plan. But I think it's a little bit too late, isn't it? It's already, other volcanoes are already going off. And so the Doctor has to deal with a cyber planet in 1916 and some volcanoes erupting that threaten to destroy the planet in 2022. So what's she to do? She gets the gang all together and they pilot the planet from 1916 into the present, use it to turn the volcanoes or the lava from the volcanoes into steel. And then she helps free the Quarinks, tells it, you know what, destroy this whole planet while you're at it. Go mad. The Master turns up, not very happy with the Doctor, and uses his tissue compression eliminator to send the beam of the Quarinks at the Doctor. And so she is zapped. Yaz runs out to help her back aboard, and it sort of pans away from the Master, so you don't see his ultimate fate.
It's very mastery anyway.
Yeah, very much so. It very much leaves the door open for him to return at a later date. Possibly regenerated, possibly not. I would not mind keeping Sacha Dhawan around. We shall see. Or maybe we just need a break from the Master at this point. Who knows? I mean, which side do you fall on?
I would like to see Sasha stay.
Yeah.
But I think we need a few years away.
Yeah. I suppose maybe it could be a bit like John Sims' return.
Yes, something like that.
Yeah, and then give it more impact when he does eventually come back. But yeah, so I don't think I want a new Master anytime soon. I think, we just need a break from the Master at this point altogether. And I think Russell's got to do his Master, so hopefully he's got other villains he wants to tick off now. So with that, Yaz takes the Doctor aboard the TARDIS. She gets all the other companions / supporting characters back home pretty much, or at least to Croydon. All the Doctor also fixed Vinder's ship while they were on the planet so he could return through the wormhole back to his family. Turns out his baby might not be the Doctor after all. Or if it is, then it's certainly left ambiguous, isn't it?
Yes, thankfully that's left.
It was very quickly done though. Like rewatching it, I noticed how odd that scene was. She's very much like, "Oh, say hi to your family for me. Hope they're doing well."
Yeah.
And then Vinder just doesn't really get to say anything. He just flies off and says, "Thank you, Doctor."
I guess because like the wormhole could close any point. Just go.
Yeah.
Look at me defending the story here.
Oh wow, there you go. I'm just thinking of Journey's End having a scene like where Jackie says, "Oh, we called the child Doctor." But this time they mean it. No, you twit. Yeah. So, Ace, Tegan, Kate, and Graham don't stick around to say goodbye to the 13th Doctor, even though she could be dead. Because I think you notice a trend here, don't you? Chibnall doesn't really like writing his goodbyes.
No, maybe he's socially awkward too.
Yeah, because the Doctor and Yaz's goodbye is a bit of an odd one.
I must do it alone.
They go eat ice cream on top of the TARDIS, which I think is a fitting.
I like it.
It's nice. It's very 13th Doctor.
Yes. Yeah.
Because she very much gives that vibe of a grown-up kid, doesn't she? It's like similar to the 11th Doctor. They're doing things that you want to do, but feel socially constrained against doing. Yeah. So it's a nice little farewell as the 13th Doctor is getting ready to regenerate, but it's left very odd. You can feel the fact that, it's a new production team coming in and Yaz isn't sticking around for it.
I think as well, at the time this was made, they didn't know Doctor Who had a future.
Yeah, that's also true. I mean, they didn't find out until, I think it was the day before we did, that Russell was taken over.
Yeah. And you can see how it ends. That's how Doctor Who would have gone if nobody picked it up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming it would have just ended with the regeneration, wasn't it? As we pan away and get the long shot, that would have been it. That could have been the end of Doctor Who. But luckily, Russell came back. The return of the King.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, we get a little scene with like the therapy group, isn't it, almost?
Yes, the new recruits, as it were.
Yeah. And I think I've noticed something quite nice about that, how it mirrors back to The Woman Who Fell to Earth with Graham giving a speech.
Oh, yeah, but the funeral.
Yeah, it sort of mirrors that in a way, I felt. He gets to give like the soliloquy at the end of both stories. And so, he's talking to a group of people, and we get Mel and Joe back, and Ian, of course. The gang's all there. Ryan's not there. there's an iPad on a chair that we never find out who's phoning in on, so that's led to many theories and such. Yeah. Oh, extra bit of trivia. Annika Wills was invited for this, but she turned it down. Did she say she had some gardening to do or something?
I don't know.
Yeah, she was she was busy that day, and so she said that she doesn't really regret not doing it because from what she saw, she wouldn't really have got to do anything anyway, which is fair enough.
Yeah,
I think it's a nice little scene though, especially getting that final little bit from Ian. I'm sorry, did you say her? And I think it also works quite nicely to give Dan a little bit extra as well. Yeah, you get like the combo of Graham and Dan finding their way to the park to meet Yaz. And then Tegan and Ace are there as well and ask Yaz, are you okay? Is she okay? And Yaz says she's fine, she's the doctor. And we cut to Durdledore now as the doctor steps out, says, Blossom, yes, Blossom, for whatever reason.
I think it's meant to be a nod to Barry Letts. It feels very like Barry Letts' Buddhist line. It feels very Pertwee.
Yeah. But you do get a lot of references to loads of different eras in this. Yeah. I suppose it's very much a game of spot the reference, isn't it?
Yes, his
even
story
more
is.
so than many other stories. And at last, she regenerates, but something's a bit odd here. The clothes start to change, and suddenly we are greeted by a familiar face, familiar teeth. It is the 10th Doctor, or is it the 14th Doctor?
Metacrisis Doctor.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who knows what's going on here, but we are introduced to David Tennant once again playing the Doctor. And that's where we leave things. And that is where we've left things with Doctor Who as well. This is it now. We're all caught up. Our whistle-stop tour has taken us from 1966 all the way to 2022. So, tear it to shreds. Go for it.
Tear it to shreds is wrong because it has good moments and it has bad moments, like any story. But I
want the good moments or the bad moments.
It will help disguise the pain.
Good moments have nostalgia.
I think that it has all the Chibnall hallmarks, like the world hopping, like we
large
said,
cast,
large class, the expositions out in full swing. It's reactionary.
You've got the big orange text.
Yeah, you're like, oh, there we go, Siberia, love it, 1916.
I feel like they missed the trick at one point when they bring the planet to the present. You sort of have a shot where it's saying 1916, and then you have another shot where it's going 2022. I feel like it would have been nice if like that counted up.
Yeah, that would
as
be.
It goes.
Moffat
and
would have done that.
Yeah, and instead it's like done from the planet's point of view, rather than it just being two separate shots. But yeah, I mean that's not necessarily a criticism. That's just suggestion how to improve it, I suppose. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily take anything away from the story. But yeah, I had a good amount of fun with it, both first watch and second. I'll be honest.
It's a story of two halves. I think the first half an hour was a bit of a rough ride.
Yeah,
because it's laying down all the tracks for these characters to go down. Whereas once you get over that first act, it kind of builds slowly towards the end of the story, really.
Yeah. I think it's also where more of the nostalgia comes in, isn't it? Because, that opening is very much setting things up.
I love the train. I love the train stuff.
I feel like visually it's not too bad, but plot-wise, I think very much it's where some of the worst expositional dialogue is.
I think it's kind of like Bam, this is Doctor Who back. We're mid-adventure.
I like that it's mid-adventure. And I think it's nice that Dan gets to leave after that because it still gives him like a final adventure, even if it's a mini one. It's still a good 10 minutes, isn't it?
Yeah, easy that.
It's not like he literally leaves before the opening credits. He gets a good little bit to go out on, a good bit of focus. And I think it works having it just be the Doctor and Yaz after this, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, because it shows that those two characters both need each other.
Hmm. I think it also works better with her meeting Tegan and Ace. And yeah, that line from Tegan of "We used to be you." I don't think it would work quite that well if Dan was there as well.
Hmm.
I had a ginger mate who used to be you as well.
He tried killing the Doctor, but he's not a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
Shall we talk about Tegan and Ace then?
Yeah, shall we?
Yeah. What did you make of them being back?
Um, I love Ace. I think Ace is, Ace. I read At Childhood End, so I already had that story with 13 already. So it's a bit of a shame that it's not canon
Yeah.
now, because it's a great book and I recommend it. And
I
it's one
suppose
of
they
the
just
best.
never thought they would bring back Ace, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I know Sophie Aldred cried when they're like, "We want you back."
Yeah.
But I think Tegan's more of the interesting character because Ace has come back many times. She's been referenced, like a charitable Earth. I don't think it
Yeah.
serves Ace that well. I think Ace is kind of, I don't want to say stock character, but it's like, here's Ace's greatest hits.
Yeah, it's very much paraded about for nostalgia, isn't it, really?
Yeah, whereas
But she-
Tegan, there's more groundwork there to be done with her character.
Hmm. It's nice that they already know each other.
Hmm.
That's obviously never happened on screen. But I think it's nice that they already have that connection there through the Doctor. And you got like Ace saying, Tegan, we talked about this.
Hmm.
Stuff like that of how they would deal with meeting the Doctor again. But yeah, I think certainly Tegan is the standout one, the two for me, in the way that they are handled. And I love that she's never she doesn't take any shit from the Doctor, does she?
No, Tegan's definitely not lost that spark in her old age.
Yeah, and I think it's nice just to see she is still written very much as Tegan.
Hmm.
Whereas I think, with a lot of the new companions in Chibnall era, a lot of their dialogue can be interchangeable, can't it? Like when it comes to asking questions and such.
Mhm.
Whereas Tegan is very much still her. Like there's that lovely scene after they blow up the unit HQ where she says, "Yes, I will come aboard, thank you," just without asking, barges in, which feels very right for Tegan to stand up to the Doctor.
I think
like
the
that.
CGI is really awkward on that bit, though.
Yeah, a
And
little
I
bit.
don't think that, because I think this was done in second photography unit. This bit was. It doesn't quite match the surroundings of London having the Cardiff church there. Like the architecture, like it goes back to Time of the Rhine. The architecture just doesn't match what you're seeing from one side to the next.
It's also a bit awkward that they literally just walked out of a building as it crumbles behind them.
Yes.
Like, I mean, I suppose that because Unit have an HQ in the middle of London, if they're going to build a self-destruct into that, they're going to do it in a way that it falls inwards so that it doesn't do too much damage to surroundings, but still, it feels somewhat awkward.
And you're not really going to get rid of the Cybermen that way because they're going to survive. They always survive. And this is one thing I don't like about the story. The Cybermen themselves. How weak they are. I don't think they're handled that well. Because like the conversion's just reduced to just sort of flashy lights.
Oh yeah, that wasn't great.
Like the Cybermasters are they're down instantly with a couple of shots. They're like,
Yeah,
come on. There's a bit.
I suppose
more...
it's because they want to get the regeneration, don't they?
Yeah, but you
they
could
can't.
have made them last a little bit longer.
Yeah, I suppose you can't blow them apart though. It's the only thing, so they're always going to go down like that.
And I think with that sequence in particular, you needed the Cybermen to have their mouths light up. I think it was missing that. Just that little bit of which Cyberman's talking now. I know it feels very classic, but yeah.
You need them to lean forwards and backwards.
Yeah, you need a
like
little
Wheel
rock.
of Space.
Yeah.
I mean, at least with the Cybermen themselves, or Cyber Warriors, Ashad's the one doing most of the talking. Or if not all of it, I think. And I mean, what a presence a Shad has. I feel like similar to Tim Shaw, or even he's very much an improved Tim Shaw, isn't he?
Yes, yeah. There's more of a backstory to him.
Yeah. I mean, certainly there's a lot of awkward things about Ascension beside Men and Timeless Children in particular. And Ashad's handling in the story isn't great, but it's just the presence of the actor. A lot of the lines as well. That just costume as well. You know, he gets that brilliant sequence we spoke about earlier where he frees the master in this story. I think I love Ashad.
Yeah,
I think
Ashad's one of my favorite things to come from the era.
I think that's the thing. There's a lot of great ideas in this era, but then they're handled a bit off, aren't they?
It's the overstuffed nature. It doesn't know what idea to run with, and it often picks the weaker idea.
Yeah, it sort of throws an idea at you that's really cool, and then comes along with a less cool idea and has that take over. Which is sort of what happened with the Master and Ashad in Timeless Children, really, isn't it? But here, I think at least Ashad gets to shine as the villain of his own subplot against Tegan.
Yeah, which is nice because obviously she's got a lot of history with Cybermen.
Yeah, I mean, you even get that scene with the Fifth Doctor where he says Adric,
which hits really hard because if you've listened to the Big Finish Mark stuff, which is like season 20B, it just has more weight to it. I'm not saying you need to have it to fully enjoy it because you can still enjoy the scene, but it hits even more because there's more cyber content there.
Yeah. I mean, if you're a classic fan, chances are you know about Earthshock. I feel like that's one of the go-to ones when you get into Classic Who, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. And so I think, that very much is the obvious way to go there with Tegan and the Fifth Doctor. And I love the way that this story divides up the characters, really, because with Tegan and Ace and their handling, I was worried that they were just going to be there, have like maybe one standout scene, and then after that, similar to what seems to happen throughout this era, they'd just be like the Doctor's posse, really, extended fam. They'd just be hanging around the Doctor while she does everything, and they'd just become another character to have random exposition.
Stand in a line.
Yeah. So it's nice that this story splits things up and gives them their own subplots. Like you get Ace going up against the Daleks again with the baseball bat, while Tegan gets to face the Cybermen again. And then, of course, you've got the Doctor and Yaz going up against the Master. It's very well done how they're split up, I feel.
Yeah, the splitting up was good, for sure.
Yeah, and I think it gives both of them some nice moments. So, shall we talk about Peter Davison, Sylvester McCoy, and the rest of the gang coming back in the those little scenes?
It's a joy, isn't it, having them back after this long? It feels like we were technically robbed in the 50th, and I think that this is the only real way you can get around it, really.
With them being older. I mean, even in the hologram, there's sort of the reference to, Tegan says, "You look like you used to, but a little bit older." I suppose it's just how Tegan perhaps imagined the Doctor to grow old alongside her, in a way. Yeah, perhaps that. But yeah, I think it's a nice way of going about it, isn't it?
I love the concept of the Edge, the Guardians of the Edge. I know it's ripped off a Virgin New Adventure by Paul Cornell, but it's great to see that implemented on screen.
It's a nice weird bit of imagery as well, isn't it? Like just with that electricity pylon there as well.
Is that a reference to Legopolis?
Who knows? Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe that's why Tom Baker's not around.
He's the Telegraph.
Fallen off. He's fallen off the edge.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's a real joy, and especially having Peter Davison and McCoy in the costumes as well.
They look so good in those costumes, don't they? Isn't it the same costume Sylve wore for the season 24 promotional video?
I imagine so.
Yeah, they both look great in it. And Peter as well wore that costume while recording Big Finish. Like those promo pictures for 40.
Oh, it's lovely.
They look so... It just makes you want to go back and watch Earthshock, really, doesn't it? Or Remembrance of the Daleks.
Yeah, and I think for me the standout one was McGann. It was just
Mm.
great to go, oh my God, it's the real Paul McGann.
Yeah. Or is it? Is it only his head?
Oh well, let's not ruin it.
Yeah. It. I've got to be. Ever since I've had that pointed out to me, it does become painfully obvious that he is in fact a body double with the head digitally edited on afterwards.
So I think the Davison Guardian one's a bit more awkward for me.
Oh, how so?
The head doesn't seem to fit the body. It just
Uh,
doesn't seem right for me.
I thought he was. Oh, he was filmed later, wasn't he?
Yeah,
As
he was
well.
filmed
It was
later. Yeah,
only. Yeah. It was only Bradley,
Colin and
Sylve,
Sylve.
and Colin. Yeah, that were there for that one. Hmm. But I mean, it feels very nice. It's like it's sort of ancillary to the plot. You don't necessarily need them there,
I mean,
but we love a nostalgia.
this is the thing. It's lovely to have, but at what cost for the 13th Doctor?
I don't think it's too bad because it's only a few scenes, really. It's an hour and 30 minutes. She still gets a good amount to do in this story.
I just think it's a bit of it goes back to that thing of a regeneration story. You want as much time with that Doctor as you possibly can have.
I mean, you still get more time with the 13th Doctor in this than you got with the 12th and 11th in their finales because they were only an hour.
Yeah, but it just seems a bit of a shame just to go do a bit of a timeless children thing on her, really, and just go, oh, out of the way.
But even that, I mean, Timeless Children, she may be out of the way, but she's still the main plot of it.
Yeah, but she's just
Not the
caged up. While the Master gives her a PowerPoint of the history of
Yeah,
Gallifrey, really.
but she still ends up doing more than companions.
Mm,
Yeah. I mean, this is also, I suppose the point of this is the power of the Doctor, the friends she made along the way.
this is what it is. That is the story, isn't it?
Yeah, that is pretty much it. And I think I like that as a centenary celebration, really.
Because the Doctor is our friend.
Mm. I mean, I'm kind of surprised she didn't get to do the sacrifice deal, given that we've had quite a few people sacrifice themselves for the Doctor. You know, it seemed like she would be forced to sacrifice herself in the end at last, but
See,
instead she just gets zapped by the Master.
what I would have liked is because of that reverse regeneration that nobody's really meant to do that. So that triggers the regeneration off. And it's her just sort of fighting it off.
So I
But
suppose you could argue it was Yaz who caused it if that was the case.
yeah, which nice in a way. Parallels parting the ways, much like the end scene between Yaz and the Doctor does in the TARDIS.
But then I think that sort of takes it away anyway, unless maybe it was done through the Guardians of the Edge, because you do have that line about how the Master's body is unstable. We can use that against him, but then they never end up really doing anything. But yeah,
Because I did want more of a standoff between Jodie and Sasha instead of just going point shoot. That's it, really.
yeah, it's a nice line from Sasha where he says, "If I don't get to be the Doctor, then you can't either, or no one can." Which how do you feel about the Master handling in this and the Chibnall as a whole? Because it is somewhat odd look, especially where we've done the Doctor Falls recently, where we almost get what could have been a very good definitive endpoint for the Master.
But then
To
again,
just
we don't know where Sasha falls in the timeline, do we?
Yeah, that's true. But even though it's, I don't know.
I mean, I love Sasha. I love Sasha's Master.
Yeah,
'Cause it kind of seemed, I wouldn't say refined Sim, because there's still that sort of tortured genius type thing there.
yeah.
I think he's better as we goes along, and I sort of wanted him in flux, because you have like the TC House of Dan sort of thing, and I wanted a bit more Sasha involvement within this series or flux in general, really.
I think it's nice that he got to come back for this finale, though. And does have a good bit to do in it as well. But, I mean, the whole Rasputin thing.
I love. Makes me chuckle seeing those paintings.
Yeah, having the song as well. Like, it's just it feels like it was only Rasputin just so he could do that dance and have that
Yeah,
music playing.
it's pure
Like
chaos.
realistically, that could have happened anywhere. All the
Mhm.
Master need was a space to do it in. Russia in 1916 has no relevance whatsoever.
Mm.
But never, I don't really mind it here. I feel like you get that a few times in the Chibnall era, like the whole thing with War of the Sontarans. The Crimean War there, but instead it's Sontarans. It's literally just aesthetic, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
It doesn't really have any relevance to the history itself. It's yeah. Whereas with this, it's the same, but it's showmanship from the master's point of view, and I think that is reason enough.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I think it's just entertaining, really, having him do the dance, have the
Yeah.
song on.
Yeah,
It's a good song, so
it's one of the
I'm not.
standout moments of the story for me.
Yeah, and I mean that costume as well. It's great, and there was a wonderful quote I saw from Sasha himself, who said that the master likes dressing up and pretending to be other people because he sort of like loathes who he is himself.
You like disguises.
Hmm. Which I think is an interesting direction to take the master in.
Hmm.
I think at least with this incarnation.
Well, it's like the
which-
last line. It's like, please don't let me be me again.
yeah, please don't let me go back to being me. And I think it sort of plays into the whole timeless child arc, doesn't it? With him resenting the Doctor for getting to be that.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's interesting stuff. It's sort of half baked into the script. It's sort of more. I think a lot of it is left open to interpretation, really, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But it's a nice potential take on it there, at the very least. And like we say, Sacha Dhawan, brilliant casting as the Master. Can't wait to hear more of him from Big Finish.
Hmm.
Yeah, got two box sets to look forward to at some point.
Yeah, yeah. It's all good.
So, do you have any other things to say about the power of the Doctor?
I really like the line "Tag, you're it." I stand by that line.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty fitting. Like again, it goes back to the 13th Doctor being somewhat more childish in some ways, isn't it? Or unashamed of childish things that maybe society leans away from.
Yeah, I think it's a beautifully shot story. The regeneration's beautiful.
The music in that sequence as well is great.
Yeah, 13's theme.
And I think Sagan Akalola probably doesn't get as much praise as Murray Gold because his is a bit more understated often.
It's more environmental music, I'd say, for like the environment.
It's there for the atmosphere, isn't it?
Yeah,
the Cyberman theme's great as well.
Yeah, I love the cyber theme. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, on the whole, I prefer Murray, but again, that's a sound you grew up with Doctor Who sounding like, isn't it?
Well, you could hear it. Like, it was bombastic. It was loud. You knew Doctor Who was on with that music.
Whereas Sagan Akalola rightly took a different direction, and one that I think it does work very well. It's just it doesn't get the praise it deserves. So, I think of the things that this era gets wrong, the music is definitely not one of them.
Yeah, I do like Sagan's scores.
Yeah. Yaz's exit, though. Do you like that?
I like it in the sense that she's supported by people.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That she's got comfort that her doctor's still out there.
I suppose, yeah, maybe that's if she doesn't see the 13th Doctor change.
She'll always have that memory of her. Really.
I think it comes down to a discussion we've had a few times now about regeneration. The idea of them being the same person throughout different lives versus different people just happen to have the same memories. And, certain writers take it one way, certain writers take it another. Stephen Moffat seemed to take it both ways. But, yeah, I feel like with Chibnall, he very much, with that, made it seem like the 13th Doctor was her own person and she was going to become someone else, which I'm less keen on. But I suppose because Yaz is there, maybe that's just how Yaz would have seen it, so she was putting it in terms she would understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very awkward exit, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's
it's
what,
like we've got this much runtime left. Okay.
yeah. It's like I need to do this next part alone. I'm not coming back for you though.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But, well, we've got David Tennant now. All is good. All is
Hmm.
right with the world. Yeah. So, any last thoughts before we rate this one?
I think we've pretty much covered it all, really.
Yeah. I mean, it was a lot better than I expected going in. Like both first time and second time. Like having heard everything about this story, and then even more surprises after that than I expected to get. And yet it didn't feel overly stuffed. It felt like it did a pretty good job balancing it all across the hour and 90 minutes.
I mean, I'd say the first half hour feels very stuffed.
Hmm. I'd say so, but I still feel like it does a good balancing act.
Hmm.
I say it's less stuffed, more just awkwardly executed.
Yeah, I think that's a better way of putting it then.
Yeah. Especially with a lot of the exposition it's getting out the way. I mean, you say getting out of the way, but half of it's not necessary.
Yeah.
We know who the Cybermasters are, for example.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10, I think.
There are nice things I like about the story. I just, it's one of those ones where everyone seems to love it, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I went in with a fresh pair of eyes, going, okay. But I think I would have liked to. I think there are too many questions left from the Chibnall era I wanted answered from it, and I don't think I got the answers from it. Like the fob watch, I think this was your last chance to throw that in. Let's do it. You know, you even had like the little kid, like we said at the start.
Yeah.
Let's go for it. We've got 90 minutes. Let's really just do it. Let's finish it off.
Thing is, I never really cared about that anyway.
I didn't
Like,
care
I feel
about
like-
it, but I'd feel better if it was finished.
But I feel like even if it was finished, it wouldn't be finished well.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we got a fun episode out of it instead.
Hmm.
Like, yeah. Like, I mean, I'm not too bothered that that stuff just gets left up in the air and then never gets come back to, really.
Yeah. I
I mean,
mean, I'll go.
it's sort of a shame that it was set up in the first place, but yeah, on the whole, we're gonna move on from it and forget about it sooner or later. Might as well be sooner now and
Yeah.
just have a fun last story for the 13th Doctor to go on.
Yeah, I mean, I like the humor of the story, like the Master's Dalek plan, and I dressed for the occasion, stuff like that. All lovely.
All the
Thanks.
references in there. aren't
Yeah,
there?
makes you smile and go, ah, I get that because I'm sad. For me, I'm gonna give Power of the Doctor 6 out of 10.
Ah, there we go. We're both 2 marks off, aren't we?
Yeah,
Yeah, like last time I gave Woman Who Fell to Earth a 6 and you gave it a 4. So we're
Yeah.
keeping a good a consistent gap of enjoyment here.
yeah.
It makes me seem like a bigger fan of Jodie's era than I actually am, because certainly in the middle there are a lot of lower scores than these two have got. I mean, Power might be my favourite of the era. It'll
Oh,
certainly be the one I go back and visit the most.
see, I probably rewatch more Jodie stories than you have.
Oh yeah, you definitely do.
Like Village of the Angels is a banger. Rosa, Witchfinders, Haunting of Villa Diodati, best Jodie story.
That is a good one from memory.
I think that's the best one for me.
I probably do need to go back and rewatch more. I feel like I'm more just giving it a gap in time, similar to what I had with a lot of Moffat era stuff.
Mm.
You know, maybe it'll be a thing of once we get into Russell, I'll then get to go back and reevaluate certain episodes.
Yeah, I'm
perhaps.
sure there'll be a reappraisal, like
Yeah.
every Doctor gets.
Mm.
You know.
I mean, just hopefully it's not for the reason that Russell T Davis's second era sucks so bad that we end up seeing good in
Mm.
Chibnall's era. Because I feel like that was somewhat the case with Moffat. It's like we didn't realize how good we perhaps had it.
Yeah, I see that.
But yeah, nevertheless, with this one, I think Chris Chibnall very much got nostalgia right because Doctor Who is often packed with a lot of nostalgia.
He got classic monsters right as well. He
Yeah.
got those right.
But with the Moffat era, it was never quite done in this just pure unashamed way for classic Who. I think that's just because of the nature of what Doctor Who is as a franchise. With something like Star Wars, and I mean, I've seen some people compare Power of the Doctor to The Rise of Skywalker. I think what makes Power of the Doctor better and not as egregious as The Rise of Skywalker is that Doctor Who doesn't do this every day. Whereas when it comes to Star Wars, probably because there's less of a wall to get through for new fans.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you only have to go back and watch some older movies. Whereas, with Classic Who, that's a much bigger mountain to climb than the originals and prequels of Star Wars, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's also just more popular culture known, like the characters and such. So with that, you have things like Star Wars The Force Awakens, which is another nostalgia wank in a way. You've got Luke Skywalker coming back in The Mandalorian. That style of nostalgia of characters coming back, these familiar faces, those moments that you love. It's done all the time in Star Wars.
And now Russell's doing it?
Yeah, perhaps. But yeah, in Doctor Who, it's not done as often, is it? And I think it's also just the way the media landscape is shifting. Mm-hmm. It's becoming more acceptable to do this sort of thing.
Well, yeah, you look at Spider-Man with like Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield. There's stories to be told with nostalgia and why it can be dangerous. So let's play with these stories now.
Yeah, like I think nostalgia doesn't just have to be a crux.
Mm-hmm.
It can also be a lot of fun on top of a decent story. And I think it's a mess, Power of the Doctor, in a lot of ways. It could have done with a lot of refining. But it gets enough right that I can sit there and really enjoy myself with it and not feel guilty about leaning into the nostalgia of it. Because we've got Sylvester McCoy and Peter Davison back in costume on screen. We've got Ace and Tegan back. And it's so nice to see them all there. And the way it's done as well, that reunion with the Seventh Doctor and Ace is beautiful. The line from the Seventh Doctor about watching children leaving home and watching them fly.
It's very Joe. And for Doctor, like the fledgling flies the coop.
Yeah, it's brilliant stuff. And I think for Ace as well, on TV, never getting an exit, it's nice that she gets to come back here. So
that's it. Regeneration Advent Calendar done.
It's the end. But the moment has been prepared for.
It's done. 24 days.
Oh, we have done it at last. What a ride it has been. Thank you, everyone, if you have joined us on this. If you've just been dipping in and out, then thank you for your support as well.
Go back and watch the others. Go
do it. Check out some of our other opinions, see what other hot takes we might have out there. It's been a great experience, hasn't it, I feel?
Yeah. Thank you for joining me for this journey, Luke.
Thank you for inviting me on it. Or accepting my idea for it.
Accepted your idea, and we're at the end now. We can go to sleep and rest.
Yeah. We can. Well, we got tier list to record first.
Yeah, time to leave the battlefield.
Yeah.
Of YouTube.
Yeah, the Christmas battlefield. We'll be back on Boxing Day, of course.
We'll be back on Boxing Day for another round of Regeneration, and then we can say, right, we're done until 14 goes.
Yeah, there we have it.
Yeah, there we are.
Wow, what a ride it's been. Yeah, please do leave a like, comment, and subscribe, of course, because this may be the end of this series, but like we say, tier list, loads of other stuff to come. I'm sure loads of other streams as well. Ben has lots of other exciting videos lined up, don't you?
I hope they're exciting.
Yeah, lots of other videos lined up.
Yes, there we go.
Whether or not,
let's not oversell
up to you decide. But well, I'm selling you here. I'm
Oh,
not
fair
ill
enough.
anyways.
Well, that's true, true.
I'm allowed to. I mean, we're British, so we can't talk up ourselves too
No, no,
much.
no,
But
no. We're
we
very
can talk up
modest.
each other.
Oh, there we
Uh,
go. There we go.
there we have it. And incidentally, a Merry Christmas to all of you at home, because Christmas Eve when this comes out.
Yes. Have a good Christmas. Enjoy
Yeah.
lots of food and sweets and yeah, have a good time. Watch your favorite Doctor episodes. Enjoy your Doctor goodies.
Yeah. And all the other goodies you may get.
Mm. Links Africa gift sets galore. Enjoy it all. You'll smell good for all of January.
There you have it. Uh, Thank you for watching, and Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.